Welcome back, everybody. It's your host, Santa. Thank you for waiting with us. We are going towards a next treat for you guys, and we're going to take it to the mobile games community. So with me tonight in the World Esports Championship roster, we have two of the best, two of the most knowledgeable people on Mobile Legends Bang Bang. With me and next to me, we have NAISOU and OSX. How you doing, guys?
I think we're doing great. We just got done with a long broadcast. What was today? We started about 8-9 hours ago. But yesterday was like the long day. I mean, yesterday we had 5 series, 12 hours, and then we went and enjoyed the festivities. What was it? What they called it? The opening day of the closing ceremony, something like that. But yeah,
You were there when Armin was on stage.
We tried. So again, it was a long day. We went over there. We found our spot, but like we were basically dead at that point. So we tried to stay. We think what did we stay, like 30 minutes or something? 30, 40, yeah, we enjoyed some of the music, and then we're like, all right, we got to go sleep because today we had the 4 series.
Again. How was it for you, OSX? How did everything receive? How did Yash receive you actually, and how did you get into the festivities and everything at the event?
Actually, we had an extra 5 days before heading into our broadcast day, which was a great opportunity for us to even discover the streets, the food, even get a morning workout just roaming around the streets of Yash. Also, you have beautiful churches. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the palace as well?
Oh yeah, the palace, Comic-Con.
Yeah, I was there.
We also tried to check out a Fit Gamer as well. So joined some panel discussions, and most of it was just clearly discovering the festivity in the streets of Yash, even the mall. So everything's just so good. Everything's just so connected. It's just so near for everything.
Yeah, the difference between the old and the new. You have the palace, the old palace behind you, and then you go to the mall and stuff like that. But is it your first time in Romania, OSX?
Yeah, in Yash, yeah. This is my first time, and having the view, waking up in the morning in my window, is just right in front of the palace. So it's each time I wake up, like, wow, it's like a dream. Like you wake up from a cartoon scene and you see this castle right in front of you and just sing with the birds and stuff. It's quite cool.
Nice context, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. So also it smells bread when we get here.
It smells what?
Bread, fresh baked bread.
The bakeries, man.
Amazing.
How about you, Naisu?
It is my first time here as well, and I've traveled, but not specifically here in Romania or Iași specifically. So it's exciting to come out here for once, and also to have someone alongside me, because I feel like, again, in a event this big, it's always nice to have. I love exploring, but it's always nice to have some familiarity as well. So I think we really spent the first, what was it, 6 days, 5 or 6 days?
The first day was dedicated to travel.
Yeah, so it was super long travel time from the Philippines, but once we got past that 26-hour journey, we just explored the heck out of this place like for a week.
What impressed you the most around here?
I am a stickler for a place, number one, where you can walk in the morning. So if there is great surroundings for me, just I guess like the architecture is like one of the big things, and I know there's a lot of like history there too, like influence and everything. So it would be just the surrounding buildings, the architecture. I love that we had I didn't even actually know we would have the palace this close to us. I think that, but also I would have to say the food. I love food and traveling, and then trying the different cuisines. So the food here has been amazing.
Great.
Do you know how you can win the hearts of all Romanian people? Just tell them what you ate, what you told me earlier.
We ate mish. Right, is that right? Am I saying that right?
Mich.
Mich, sorry. We ate mish. And the mustard was on point.
The meat.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on the mic, OSX.
The meat and the beef is so juicy and so soft. Like it's even warm when we ate it. Yeah. It was so good paired with fries. Amazing.
Oh yeah, we had fries with it.
Yeah. I was even looking for rice. Because it's so good with the meat.
It goes with anything. It goes with anything.
Perfect.
And it's simple as well. It's just minced meat on the grill, like a flattened out burger.
But after casting yesterday for 12 hours, I think that's exactly what we needed. I don't know. They asked us too. Shout out to the people taking care of us, by the way, doing an amazing job. I think they call them angels as well. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
angels are running around and asking us. They were like, what do you guys want to eat? And we're just like something Romanian, something to actually like pick us up because we wanted to, of course, like rest up before today. And they're like, how about Meech? And we're like, okay, we'll go for it. And it was amazing.
With a cold drink next to them is just amazing, right?
Yeah, it's but we just drank water because we need to hydrate. Like that's a big thing for us here.
I have one thing to add though. On the first day that we had the restaurant after the night we arrived in Iași, I want to try the most basic thing in a country that I just want to discover. Like me and NAISOU went to the supermarket and tried the fresh milk in a ball.
Yeah.
That was one of the bestest fresh milk I've ever tasted.
Because we don't get it in the Philippines. Like it's hard to find fresh milk.
It's hard, and having it like tasted in a bottle, like what you see in the movies and in TV shows.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
amazing. We could either have a chance to even drink it in our bench and even in our view there.
We literally bought milk and we went to his balcony and we drank it. Like the wine glasses were like, this is some awesome cold milk, man. And then we had the palace like right in front of us. We're like, what a journey. Just two
I've
dudes.
never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah, the milk, best there. Even the cheese. For cheese lovers like me, this is the best place to be.
You're a cheese lover.
Blue cheese, brie, so good right here.
You can dim it down here in Romania a little bit because we have. You mentioned you were living in the States for quite a while, right? You have only yellow cheese over there. I'm seeing in the commercials, I'm seeing the movies, I'm seeing everything. I even went there. Here you get straight from the cow, right? From the farmers, and then you add, or they add a little bit of salt. You should try in the morning. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. You should try in the morning that kind of cheese with a little bit of warm bread and tomatoes. It's the best thing you can eat in the summertime. I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it tomorrow during the breakfast. Because one thing close to my heart is I have family in Sydney, so
Yeah.
they're also rich with cows and dairy and stuff. And the blue cheese here, even just the basic ones, tasted so good. Paired with crackers. And I was looking even for wine for dinner, just to pair with that with a great TV show and on a snack.
You're right on spot because we have good wine here. You should try the red one. The red one. I don't know your preferences in wine, but maybe you can have a chance to look at a cellar around here. I was talking with the casters from earlier, with Barry and Fierita, about going to a wine cellar. What would you feel about that?
It would be awesome, but I don't think we have enough time. Like we would have to
It's
extend.
coming to a close, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of our free time personally was the beginning days, and we did quite a bit. Like we enjoyed the festivities here, but then we walked around a little, explored a lot. But I think right after tomorrow's the grand finals, and then like the next day we have that long journey back to the Philippines.
Yeah, I get it. You ready to dive into the game?
Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go. I think I should be more ready because you guys are the experts in this field. But I'm really curious about a lot of things about Mobile Legends Bang Bang. As I've been telling you, I played a little bit, but then not at the top levels. And so my first question to you guys would be: were you at a point in time before being behind the desk, before being broadcasters? Were you pro players as well? Were you players at the top level as well?
Yeah, I guess we wish in a way. For me, my journey there I was basically a streamer, so I just streamed like full time playing Mobile Legends, and I was known for one specific like hero. Like that's all that I played, but I played it at a super high level. I was like, I actually was number one in the world is for that hero, for that specific hero.
Which one?
Gord.
Okay.
So he's usually in the mid lane. He's like this guy on like a little hoverboard, basically, and that is what got me into the game, I guess, and that's what I competed at. But I was not a pro player.
But being the number one in the world, that makes you close, very close to that, right?
Yeah, it was great. Again, he's a non-meta pick, and I was playing him at some of the highest rankings like that you could basically get at, and I actually met some of the pro players in the scene before, I even thought of being a caster. Like I was just a streamer. I was just a guy creating content, and that was, how I got into it basically.
Okay. How about you, OSX?
It was a different journey for me. This was the start of the pandemic, and I didn't start as like playing it like religiously, but I I kind of want to try something new during that time since we all have the time in the world by not going out of the houses, just being in straight up because of the pandemic. I had a chance to start streaming because mostly back then my work was just behind the camera. I'm a production advisor. I back then also created a lot of stuff for TV. So I was trying to discover something out of me since it's the pandemic. I wanted to try something new, just being in front of the camera and just becoming a streamer. First, it was so awkward for me. I know it's ironic that we're casters right now, and I'm so afraid of the camera back then. But it was 3-4 years ago, and I was trying to discover something that I could actually have a chance to connect with the game. I started with the invitation of having people online to have a 5v5 on Mobile Legends. I was actually hosting their games, and one of which it grew to a point that I was starting to grow this community in Mobile Legends, and it became a thing during the pandemic because a lot of people is just staying at home. That's where the peak of the viewers in our pro league was hitting millions just by online. So from that moment on, I tend to have a way to connect with the community right away by just hosting those games, and completely, here I am.
Mentioning the community, how tight is it now that it's such a popular game, right? We can talk about different areas of the world. Yeah, we were talking earlier about that and its impact more towards the eastern side of the world. How strong is the community within this game?
First off, this mobile game, Mobile Legends, is just this game alone. All of people from walks of life, you see it played every day. From being part of a salesperson, a sales clerk, a security guard, a kid just on the street, a father, a brother, sister, even a family who plays Mobile Legends is just all around the place in the Philippines. And it's growing. Even young kids started before like 3 or 4. And it's so strong. Like when you started to see a person like playing a rank game, you just say like, what rank are you in? Suddenly you say, I'm still an epic. I'm still struggling through this. And you just connected. And suddenly NAISOU here also stumbled across one player back in the airport who was just playing rank games. And he just probably noticed this guy, oh, you're a caster back at MPL Philippines. And suddenly as a trainer, he asked, oh, you guys as well are from MPL. So it's a bit of like a change of like, you actually connect with your community quickly because everybody just plays the game.
Right. I was watching the games. You go ahead, Naisu. In your opinion, I was watching the game and mentioning earlier that there's a strong community in the Asian part of the world. How do you feel it bringing into Europe?
So for me personally, again, being from the U.S., like, I moved to Asia 12 years ago, but as someone from the U.S. grew up there, as soon as I saw it growing in Asia, I would always been an advocate, even when I got into casting, for it to grow in, first off, North America, out in the U.S. And I was happy to see over the course of the last year or two that it has grown over there. They have like an official league now. I had the opportunity also to go out to Las Vegas and cast their grand final earlier this year, which was an amazing experience. So it's growing there. And with that happening, I would also say like it actually has started in Europe. They actually have tournaments, grassroots tournaments, but then they're starting to get some of these backings. And, there's been European teams that have competed in these official Moonton tournaments as well. I just think it's in a similar area of how the U.S. was. Like, there needs to be enough traction. There needs to be enough initiatives. And that's what the company kind of looks for. Moonton looks for that. And if there is that interest, if there's that growth naturally, then they'll start to put, resources and attention there. And I think right now, even leading up into this IESF, it's already happening, in parts of Europe. So I would expect that as time goes on, maybe next year, we continue to see more European teams like compete and hopefully join in, some of our official tournaments. Of course, like I said, we've already had them in the past, but we hope that it starts to become a mainstay, if you will, for the World Championship stuff later on and these other tournaments, like big tournaments for Moonton.
What would be not necessarily a specific recipe, but what would be a good recipe apart from bringing more traction towards other more developed in the term of Mobile Legends and mobile games in general that Europeans can pick up on? What could we do better in order to invite the community over here?
Oh man, number one would just be, stuff like this, honestly, like these tournaments. I would say it's the initiative alone is already a step in the right direction. What this community there is a certain, I feel like, just this expectation because, again, this has been a game and an esport that has been around in that part of the world, Asia specifically, for so many years, and there's been a huge quantum leap, literally, of like improvement in the tournaments. Like if you look at the grassroots tournaments in MLBB, when it first came out, it's so different. And so some of these grassroots tournaments that are popping up in like first like back in NA or even Europe, it's kind of a shock to the general audience, which is still heavily based in Asia, and they're like, man, why do these graphics look like this, or why does the production look like this? And they have to understand that there's an expectation on the production side, but the viewers as well, like they need to understand that this might be the first time that this part of the world is trying to produce something at this level for MLB.
It is.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so even if you look at these places that, again, a lot of these people are like, well, this is this part of the world, they should have a crazy production for this game. Well, it's a learning process. You can't just go and get this team from a place that barely knows esports for MLBB and expect a top tier crazy production, what people are expecting from Asia, right? And I still think, even with that said, even here, it's amazing what IESF has done, because I know and we've heard from ourselves that, this is a new venture for a lot of these people involved. A lot of people are also volunteering, to be a part of this. And we heard a similar story back when we were in Riyadh a couple months ago for the Asian Championships. And they told us the same thing, Yeah, when people see Riyadh or people see this part of the world, they're like, man, you hear about all these amazing things they're doing, but still you got to give them time to really refine it, and I think people forget that. So I would say for the community, be a little more forgiving. Like, just be appreciative that this game, and mobile gaming specifically, is actually growing around the world. And I think now you can really say it's here to stay, because there's been a debate for the longest time, like, is mobile gaming legit? Is the esport legit? And I think now you can say, like, yeah, it's here.
Yeah, I think it's the future, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the accessibility behind it, right? And the opportunity to be part of such a great community and a big community. And it's interesting you mentioned about the production. I got to give a shout out to the guys in production, because they were doing their absolute best in these last few days. So towards Nexus Media, you guys are the best doing this. Yeah, the guys agree with me.
The guys in our ear and the guys taking care of us, again, from our perspective as casters and how much we've worked with different people, they're on point. Smooth. They're super smooth. Butter. For us, it makes our job really easy. So, and I know there's things that happen that are out of your control here and there. But for the most part, at least from our perspective, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience.
That's really heartwarming to hear. And I've been in all the chats to say so. Yeah, seeing the effort being put behind, right, and what the guys are doing. They're experts in their field, but of course you are as well. And I would like to pick your brain a little bit more on what the effect of MLBB has brought to the whole esports phenomenon right now. So going on a little bit further, what do you think about the tournament results so far in terms of their expertise, in terms of skill? Is it skill versus strategy? What makes a good team so far in this tournament? How about?
I think for IESF has created here the World Esports Championship alone, this gives a lot of an opportunity for teams in different regions to actually participate, opening up a lot of countries who actually plays MLBB. Is just so amazing to see. And for you to like gauge on what is the kind of like the key point of having a great average of playstyle is, maybe it's the Philippines, specifically in Asia, has more pro leagues and tournaments, and they create different kinds of metas and tactics, even strategies that only exist for certain patches that actually works for just for this specific region. So that's one thing also that we see growth from was we saw a team back in Riyadh, and now we see them perform against the Philippines, who is remaining undefeated. And they told us, or they told it the one time in the winning interview, that they were screaming or having an exercise with the Philippines that gives an advantage to discover more of the meta. Asia has been a giant for the metas, for the strategies, and even for the famous picks of heroes that you could only imagine. Different strategies, countless of MLs, countless ways of mixing up of damages. But for that, if more of like regions adapt to like a certain type of meta or even a strategy from Asia, or just having things on their own flavor, could actually work. At some points, you also see different flavors here, even from the Europe side, that we also had good results. But for mainly, the results was leaning towards like from the MENA and also Asia. So we can see actually promising teams from Europe actually develop and adapt to this kind of a play style and actually have a growth from having this experience alone.
Right. And you were mentioning that we're really close to the finals, right? We are really close to getting there and seeing the gold medalists.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. So would you see the favorites being here in the finals having had an easy walk through towards the title?
So the Philippines is undefeated. You know, you can take that for what you will. Is that an easy walk or not? Again,
Congrats, what can I say?
But for the most part, again, this is a team. Actually, the teams that have ended up in the grand final, Philippines and Indonesia. A lot of tournaments like this is the case when it's on like, you know, these global tournaments, and it's just because again they've been playing for so many years. There's so many tournaments out there, and so I would say that for the most part, there was a certain expectation, but we had quite a few surprises, you know, and that's I think what OSX was saying too. Like from what we've seen from Riyadh in these and the other qualifiers leading up to here, a lot of these teams are catching up. And I think it's only a matter of time, you know, before eventually, like, you have contenders really making it tough for, like, Philippines and Indonesia. Because right now, it's very apparent that there are still these regions that are super strong and, you know, they have an easier time in some of these tournaments, right? Undefeated is kind of crazy if you think about it and how long they've been playing. And if you also look at the actual games from a game-to-game perspective, they're very quick games, you know, like because they're just like they've got the system down to a T, you know, for the most part. They know how to execute it very well. I would say for a lot of teams, though, like it was pretty brutal, you know, through the group stages into the playoff days, and there was upsets, there were surprises. And one thing that I really enjoy about this as a caster anyway is for some of these teams that might not necessarily have as many fans around the world. And then through these tournaments, specifically like leading into even Riyadh, we see them garner this fan base from around the world. And teams that don't have these massive leagues or massive tournaments, this platform, like IESF alone, has really allowed them to shine. And so now you have some of these players who might not have been known in the Philippines or Indonesia, and they're from Mongolia, or, you know, some are from Brazil or something, Kazakhstan even, countries that some of these people watching have never heard of. Yeah. And now they're like, wow, look at these MLBB players from there. They're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So that is something that is really, I think, one of the highlights here of a tournament like this, a platform like this, and I hope that it continues to basically expand and grow, you know, because it gives the opportunity for these players.
We always mention actually the esports family, right? And MLBB has joined probably not with the most notoriety a couple of years ago, but now it's in its boom, it's in its prime, and even larger. It's becoming larger day after day. What's the difference between, say, a mobile game such as MLBB versus a console or a PC game in terms of future in esports? What's your perspective on that?
Esports in general, it's massively growing in the mobile side because a lot of phones actually are becoming more affordable even to just different walks of life, even from high school students, kids using it for learning. Now that since Mobile Legends, when they started back in 2016, it was the most game-friendly app that you can play, regardless of how RAM you have, even just 1 gig of a RAM. And at some point that it just continue to grow with the graphics and all the patches and stuff, it still remained the same. You will have a good phone. It has a different way of like with UI and play style, but in terms of like growing, I think MLBB is just here to stay. As long as you have that way of a growing community with you, since IESF opened actually the world, inviting a lot of countries to even participate in this kind of tournament, who knows what regions can actually pop up. So you might have it from Antarctica or something. So see, just opening up more avenues, right? Just buy the
So
game alone.
optimistic
Yeah.
about Antarctica.
Yeah, I know because we have a team from Romania. Yeah, you'll never know. You have a team from Romania. We have a team from Senegal. You're from Colombia. How did it exist just until now, right? So we were just so amazed and fascinated that this regions actually has the passion and to play, and even in the world stage, it's amazing. So as long as the phone there's an app or there's a RAM, go ahead and play it. It just will just grow from then on.
So we can look with your optimism, right, towards the future of esports on mobile gaming. And I think it's a wonderful thing because it involves
Yeah.
more people, yeah? It brings to the family of esports more people. The community is going to be strong, right? But in terms of community, do you see, you mentioned you were a streamer, right, NAISOU before and got you into behind the desk and being a caster. Is the world of influencer media in MLBB strong?
Influencer media, they typically utilize a lot of, they call them KOLs out there, you know, and I think it stands for key opinion leader. So essentially what that is like, yeah, a lot of these influencers, a lot of these streamers, a lot of these just content creators in general for MLBB are out there. And this is actually something that you see a lot of for Philippines and Indonesia, right? I think even for Indonesia, as you know, they walk out there, by the way, that's them. They actually utilize a lot of their content creators and KOLs to, you know, of course, like it's in a way it's like marketing, right? You're marketing the game out, you're helping grow that fan base, and they do the same thing when it comes to these major tournaments. They send out invites to a lot of these individuals, you know, and they come, of course, and they have their own following and their own reach, and it really just kind of continues to grow and grow. And I think that's what's great because it even happens like in the US, like I was saying, now that that scene has been growing, you have these individuals like deciding like, okay, I'm going to be this influential person as a content creator for MLBB. And even if it's not my full-time thing yet, like these are personal people I know that have families and full-time jobs, but on the side, they're building, you know, multiple social media channels based on just MLBB, whether they're players, casters, personalities. And, you know, so even when I got to go to, like I said, Las Vegas and to see their KOLs, that was cool because, you know, I've seen it so much in Asia and I was like, now they're emulating it out here in the US. So I think it plays a big role. And it also makes me wonder, like I started looking at other titles. Like, do they do this as well? Like, do they put as much attention and marketing budget or whatever, you know, whatever it is to really push out these KOLs or these content creators for these other games, you know? And I think that's a huge, basically component that Moonton does really well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've heard it from some specialists the other day that are from esports charts. I was mentioning that earlier as well. So they were watching viewership. They know about every kind of viewership everywhere: Twitch, YouTube, you name it, Facebook, whatever. And they were actually. I was actually surprised when they told me that Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, and actually mobile gaming is so popular nowadays that if you were going to put the KOLs right in front of that cavalry of mobile gaming, you would have a boom like nothing before. They're seeing it in their own charts as well right now. So this is just the beginning, right? The SF is smart about this, that it brings all elements of esports into this, and Mobile Legends is one of them, right? And yourselves, from your experience so far, let's deep dive a little bit into your experience with the game so far and what it has to offer from the future. Are you happy with the game as it is right now? What can it do better for starting now?
So what can it do better? I think, well, if you look when MLBB as a game started, they've made massive improvements. You know, again, this is back then, I think there was, 10 or 11 heroes, like that first came out. And then there's, I don't even know, 100 plus, you know? So, like, they're always innovating, number one. Yeah, it's still growing. They've obviously improved a lot of just the inner groundwork of the game. But now in terms of the esport, of course, like, what else can they do to improve there? I think they're doing it, actually. And we talked very openly about this years ago, if you will. Like, I feel like you always have to do something from a standpoint of, when it comes to competitive play, making sure things stay fresh and that you don't just get stuck into this certain meta, right? Like, every game has a meta for the most part, and you don't want to keep seeing like these same picks. Like, if you have a hero pool of 100 plus heroes, but only like 20 constantly get picked, that's not really fun to watch as a viewer. I'm sure it's not very fun as even the player or the casters, right? Eventually you want to see some of the things shaken up. And I feel like now I could say, of course, there's still a meta, but we're in this place competitively for MLBB now where there's a lot of like uniqueness that can pop up. There's a lot more room, I feel like, for deviation for the teams to like pick surprising things up. That's even what we're seeing here for IESF. And I think that makes things a lot healthier. Not only that, but going back to the point of these other parts of the world growing and improving, because that's another thing people are looking for. They want to see these teams that have been winning, you know, these countries that have been winning for years or seasons or whatever. They want to see someone step in and contend against them, right? Like that. People eventually want to see a different person crowned the champion, you know? So I think that same thing. We were talking about this years ago, and now we're at a point where these other parts of the world are getting involved. They're improving. And what's funny is that's happening, especially in our professional scene, is there's imports like a traditional sport. So now you have these players from, well, most of them coming from the Philippines, being sent out to other countries to go play professional MLBB, not just players, but coaches, getting hired by other countries to coach. And so I think, you know, just right now where we are, like you mentioned, it's like a peak almost, you know, because just all this feedback that they've gotten over time, it's now at a point where things have fallen in place and it's really going in like the proper, basically, trajectory. You know, it's like it's going up for a reason, and it's because there's been a lot of improvement there.
Right. So this actually helps the whole scene get fragmented into getting at the same level of expertise as the Philippines. It was never lost, as you as you mentioned so far, which takes it to a better experience of the game and of competition. Right. If the competition is going to get at a higher and higher level, then we're going to see more events of this. Right. Even in Europe, as you were saying, NAISOU, and even in other regions of the globe that the game probably isn't so strong. Right.
Antarctica.
You should sponsor a team from Antarctica to get.
Welcome to ISF Antarctica.
That's so cool. That would be so
I hope you didn't bring T-shirts. Tell me, OSX. I'm curious about. I'm gonna take it to a more fun side right now, right? I know you guys are tired, but I just wanted to dive into the little fun bit that is left right now and ask you, what have you been most surprised about here, or pleasantly looking forward towards in the next coming days before your trip back?
I want to taste more of the Romanian food. Yeah, we tasted one. We tasted one yesterday. Last night, the meat, right? And also, we were looking forward to see Dracula's castle, but it's too far from here. Yeah, it was in Bucharest. Yeah.
It's closer to the mountainside region. Yeah, a little closer to rather than Bucharest.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing views in Romania, and if we only had the extra time to visit, we would actually do it. But right now, for our 5 days here of just exploring the city and meeting different people, as well as tasting the food and all the good stuff actually to buy, for me, it's already enough. And the experience of how ISF took care of us is already a privilege, and we're just honored to be here. Yeah, maybe next time a landmark or something different. We'll take a dive onto Europe as well.
This guy is a picture guy. Like he is. And don't get me wrong, I love my pictures too, but I feel like I'm a little more old school in this. Like I like to just soak it up personally. Yeah. That's just me. This guy, he loves landmarks. He loves all this food because he likes to document everything. You know, and I think it is amazing because same side, you get to go back and look at everything. You know that once we're done.
In his own socials, I took that. Mind you, it was candid. And I was saying, can I do a test shot? And it just said, oh, I look good in that. I'm going to post it now. I was like, what? How is that fair? How about me? And I was like,
it's so awesome for a local to hear that you're really into the scenario and that everything that you have to take in over here, because that's just a compliment overall, right? Yeah. Before taking it in. But I think I'm more on your side. Taking a mental note of everything that I'm experiencing is just for myself, you know? But I really take that as a compliment, and thank you so much for saying that. I'm going to make some recommendations afterwards just for you to try right in the morning, like I said, with the cheese and the tomatoes as well. But I'm moving over to you, NAISOU. What are you looking forward for the rest of the days that you're gonna be here? I'm just asking this because you know there have been some artists or that you have some stands that you could just take advantage of. Give it to me.
You know, honestly, I had kind of an idea what we wanted to do when we first got here because we just knew the schedule. And so, like, I feel like, at least for me personally, I've done everything that I've wanted to up to this point because I know, like, tomorrow is the grand finals. We're going to watch, like, multiple grand finals games. I really want to actually just be a viewer. I guess that's one thing. Like, yeah, you just, after casting, you know, for 4 days in a row, we get through the grand final. I want to go and just, like, sit in front of the main stage and just enjoy, you know. And also, like, we've made really good friends with some of the other casters here. So, we, of course, like, we want to go watch them perform, you know,
Vlad,
and
yeah?
work. Yeah. Vlad. Yeah. We saw him. I think he was here with his yellow suit, right? So,
Yeah,
the guy's awesome.
the mask.
Yeah. And yeah, the mask. And then the other day, he was like the Joker because he had his purple suit on. So, he is. So, that, I guess that, like, these last, really, it's like a last day, honestly, that we have. And so I just feel like we want to, of course, do our best to finish off the grand finals and then just go support, like, the friends that we've made, support the rest of these games as a viewer. That's always something that I feel like when you've been casting for so long, you forget sometimes what it's like to just sit down and, like, view a game. Even if it's not our game, like MLBB, it's still esports, and, like, you can still appreciate. And I would say too, like, we do one thing, the reason why we like meeting other casters, even from other games, is because you can still learn from them. Like, you can pick things up to bring to our own broadcast, and so I think that's it. Like, just enjoy the grand finals days, and the next day, really, I think in the morning, like, we have to just the travel, like, that's the next thing, you know. Right after grand final days, like, we head back because as soon as we go back to the Philippines, we have our professional league to focus on. So
it's back to work.
Basically, yeah, back to work. This has kind of been what, like, mini vacation / like work. Like, the first week was vacation-ish, and then, you know, these last days are work days. So, you know, it was kind of flip-flop for us. And I guess, you know, that's to answer your question, is like we kind of already did what we could do in that first, you know, half.
Well, guys, you're absolute units, for the best couple of days. I wish you the best of luck tomorrow behind the desk, at the finals. I'm eager to see who's going to win. Indonesia versus the Philippines, right? Undefeated versus tough contender, right? Guys, I had with me NAISOU, OSX. Pleasure to have you here again, guys.
Thank you.
I've been Santa with you. We're going to wrap up another evening of Vodafone Play Talks. I will see you in front of the stage. This is going to be the end of our series. Thank you so much for being with here from all corners of the globe at the World Esports Championship hosted by the IESF in Iasi. You've been great. These guys have been great. I'm Santa. Night out.